Okay, so we are products of an education system of the yesteryears. Would you say that?
Yes, in short, yes.
I would start by supporting that viewpoint through the exploration of the idea of, do we even need to be so smart in the first place? I think we talked about this previously because, again, our time, success, or the meritocracy myth was still in place. So as part of buying into that myth, it requires you to at least prove one part of that hypothesis correct, which is you have to have good grades lah. So our grades were not fantastic, we are not scholarship holders, but I think we were good enough to graduate. Phew! To graduate. And then we were able to go to school and just rather go into the workplace and find good enough jobs, So that trajectory predicated on our success academically meant that we also had to push aside other extracurricular activities. For example, if we were more sporty, for example, could we have pursued an education in sports? So the trajectory of being a sports person as opposed to being an office worker. If we were alternatives.
Yeah, right. If you were more insistent in your art education, for example, could you have been a multimedia artist, combining your IT knowledge with installation art? But we didn't entertain any of that because the narrative at that point in time was very much driven by academic success equals to a great office job equals to success in life.
I would say that this narrative is still true in this day and age.
Broadly true.
Just that there are alternatives already.
Exactly.
Fortunately, there are avenues that's being provided by the schools out there in Singapore as well as the educators to let kids explore their interests.
Right. So the favorite example that we always use, of course, when we talked about the episode on TV, you should know that we were part of Singapore's television history as a youth program compare and MC or whatsoever.
Yeah.
What if we ditched education and ran down that path of fame and stardom?
Tell our parents, I don't want to study anymore. I want to be a star.
I want to be a TV star. I want to join Star Search.
You had the application form.
Fuck, I did, yes. Shit, yes. I did, yes. I entertained that thought. But no, as a good Singaporean son, I still finished my university.
Yeah. That, unfortunately, is the case with us.
Exactly.
And I would say that for better or for worse, education system in Singapore is globally recognized as one of the best.
That's correct.
Even though it has produced a bit of a side effect. Okay, back in our days, the worst we could be worrying about is teenage pregnancy.
Drug use, also got drug use.
Okay. Nowadays is kids commit trigger warning. Teen suicide, school bullying.
Yes.
We even have a case of murder.
Yes. Underage murder, Jesus.
Yeah. So my question is it worth it? Look, I'm not saying that we are any less stressful back then.
Correct.
But somehow do we
have perspective?
Okay, I want to say that success to us was more one track. So you are either on or not, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually, on hindsight, you would know that it doesn't matter.
Right.
Whereas right now, for kids these days, they would think that success is multi-track, or at least they're being taught to think so.
You can be anything you want to be. Yay.
Just don't be an influencer.
Yeah.
And they're led to believe that anything is possible.
Correct.
But is that the best thing though?
One fallout from that narrative to me, and something that I witnessed was when I went for this social mixer, this intergenerational social mixer.
Oh, pray tell.
Yes, that one, right? So I was at this social mixer where there was a table where I was naturally the oldest person at the table.
At 40 plus.
At 40 plus, talking to a bunch of 30-somethings and 20-somethings. So the moderator at that table was still in university.
Yikes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So we're talking about someone who's Was it,
Has he guy? If it's guy,
it's a guy, 20
something,
something, 20 something. And he was talking about how the norm now is for university students to actually defer their studies sometimes to get as many internships as possible with top firms, of course.
Oh, so you can tell your lecturer or your school counselor that
Correct,
I'm
yes.
going to defer my year 2
Yes.
because I got an internship at KPMG.
Correct, yeah. So they are amassing these internships because that's how competitive things have gotten. That you need to prove your social market. So getting good grades is not enough. You have to have good grades plus 5 internships at prestigious firms to tell your would-be your prospective employer saying that, oh, I'm not just employing a kid who's smart. He or she or they have actual work experience, even if it's just internship.
Photocopying
It's fucking
machine.
insane.
Yeah, agree. It's good in the sense that they have first-hand experience of what it means to be a working adult.
Yes,
Even
yes.
even as an intern, they let's just give the companies the benefit of the doubt that they have a good internship, a responsible internship.
They're not
program in
just
place.
there to pour coffee and
or
photocopy whatever.
This
Fine.
is
Yes.
photocopy.
I've worked with interns, so yes, we have given them fairly good
Exposure.
exposure, projects, and responsibilities. So yes, I believe internships these days are not those that we have heard of in the past, where it's very menial. So yes, but to jump to the extreme where they have to amass multiple internships, to me, it's worrying.
It's almost like success on steroids.
Correct.
Whereas for us, it's like again one track. For them, no, it's one track, and then you have to like add on.
It's like the battlefield feels like for us, it's in the workplace. Find a job first, then we battle it out.
Yes,
right?
to climb the corporate ladder, so to speak. Yes.
Yeah, so these kids are now battling even before they enter the battlefield.
Yikes!
Like it's my favorite phrase is arms race. It's an arms race, and to me it's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. We have focused so much on education, we forgot what it means to learn.
Care to explain? I think you did just
Yeah,
now,
right,
but just
to reiterate, right? Basically, education is a formalized system of knowing how to acquire information, how to acquire knowledge. It's a how. But learning is what, why, when, and where. Why do you want to even acquire all this knowledge and skill sets in the first place? What are you going to do with it? When are you going to really expound on it to the point where it actually makes sense and is to your greatest advantage? And where can you shine with this strong capability to learn? Right. So to me, we have pushed a little bit too far into formalized learning and beating the odds to come out of the education system on top, to the point where maybe the goal really should be just learning. We should just learn how to learn, and then along the way just adapt and grow lah. What's the worst that can happen?
We have a country of degenerates. Look at the US. Ha ha ha.
You said it. Not me.
The reason why we are Asians and not Asians, right? We are Asians, not Asians. There is a reason why. And as much as I'm proud, I'm also mindful of, okay, we don't have kids. We will never will have kids. So for us to even harp on this point about education, it's a little bit...
I know it. Yes, it can sound a little bit facetious and almost out of topic. But the recent news about how the tuition industry in Singapore is $1 billion industry, right, blew my mind.
Why?
Exactly.
It's look, tuition existed almost prehistorically.
Yes. It's the third oldest profession.
Yeah. So why are you surprised?
But I mean, to me, it's the scale and the depth of it. For it to be $1 billion industry, that means the scale and the depth of services on offer. Actually, it's a lot, leh.
Yeah. Why I'm tending to agree with you is because yesterday I had a conversation about company evaluation. So I went on to see
Seek.com, the parent company of Indeed.
Okay.
Their current market capital is about 9 billion. 9 billion. Why are you surprised? I'm not surprised. So one industry, tuition industry in Singapore is multi-billion dollar,
Yes.
equivalent to one conglomerate.
Yeah, but that's it. Tuition is meant to be right from the start. Tuition is meant to be a cottage industry. It's meant to supplement kids who may have difficulty learning certain subjects, and because conventional or the normal education / classroom, too many kids, right?
Yeah. 1 to 30, 1 to 40.
Yeah, correct. And even with falling birth rates, we are still dealing with a classroom of about 30 kids. Fine, the teacher cannot give the kid all the attention that he or she or they need, then fine. The tuition thing comes in. We had tuition lessons.
Yep,
I hated my tuition teacher. He was the motherfucker who said I would never go to Temasek JC, and I proved him wrong. Anyhow, not getting personal. But yeah, it was meant to be supplementary. It's meant to like, oh, I don't understand this, can you explain this to me again? Sure. But it now feels like it's the norm, and the teachers are there to do the bare minimum of telling you which page to take note, what equation you must know,
Wait, the teachers in school or the teachers at the tuition center?
The teachers in school are now de-evolving. Some would argue to the point where these superstar tuition teachers are taking the lead, and now the main school teachers are supplementing that. I find that perverse, and I don't think that's a healthy way to go.
Look, this is not unique to Singapore.
It's not.
China has already tried to rein in the tuition craze.
Correct.
Without much success. I mean, it has since gone underground.
Yeah. So if Singapore or a small island nation state can churn $1 billion industry, can you imagine China?
Multi-billion dollars. China, Korea,
Hong
Kong.
Right.
Yes. All of these countries and cities, they thrive on tuition simply because of the Asian value of studying.
Studying Asian value, I don't know lah. Diligence maybe, but studying
I will and succeed, right? Again, it's the idea of success being built on a foundation of academic excellence. Not necessarily true in this day and age.
Correct.
And
because, again, if you also take a step back, the M word I used earlier, meritocracy.
Yep.
What gives you an edge may not necessarily be education, which is a bit ironic given that in Singapore being a meritocratic country / island nation state, always harps on the fact that if you work hard enough, if you study hard enough, if you try hard enough, you will go somewhere, you will be ahead. Is that true though?
This is a topic for a separate conversation.
Yes.
Let's just focus on education. Yes, education forms a large part of meritocracy.
No, not necessarily, but it's one component where people try to get an edge in the proverbial process of edging someone else out. Yes.
Okay. So we talked about education from secondary level. We talked a bit about it on the
tertiary level.
We also see a trend in adult learning.
Yes.
We are going through it right now.
That's correct. Yes.
I am going through it via the channel of being a career counselor.
Yes, I'm going through it by going for different lessons. Primarily, I'm going through the coaching program, coaching as in executive coaching, but also I have digital apps that allow me to micro-learn because the theory is no matter how old we get, the brain is neuroplastic. It can always grow, it can always adapt. So learning new skills, learning new knowledge allows the brain to make new synapses, and voila, you can still teach an old dog new tricks.
And stave away dementia.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Adult learning, it is an industry as well.
That's right.
But I don't
think it's multi-billion
dollars. It is It is also very profitable, I would say.
Yes.
And I've not really touched on adult learning until recently when there is an opportunity.
Correct. Yeah.
Because it's always been, the idea is that as you grow older, and I think it's also the whole COVID thing that gave us the idea of how industries can be gone just like that.
That's correct.
And we need to always upskill and reskill. Yeah, all the government sayings.
So simple the narrative, right?
Yeah, but aren't you also part of that upskill and reskill narrative?
Because I lost my job. Duh.
Yeah, so obviously we have to do it.
Yeah, we have to, because nobody owes us a living, right?
What's your experience with adult learning?
So I went for one beginner's course in coaching, and it was, I have to say, I told you, right, I had my initial jitters because it's been so long since I went for organized in-person classroom learning. The last time I did it, I think, was pre-COVID, when I used my skills futures to actually go for a design thinking course. But that was okay, like that was just rah-rah, and it's 2 days of fluff. So, I mean,
What? So you're saying that design thinking is fluff?
I'm being facetious. But anyway, but yeah, the idea of adult learning, I had my jitters, but it turned out to be fairly pleasant. Yeah, the classmates are fun, not too cringy, and everybody went all in without too rah-rah, without being too rah-rah. So I think I appreciated that, and that gives me hope for my upcoming intermediate and advanced course.
Okay. So you won't get the same classmates lah?
No,
Okay.
I won't even get the same instructor actually.
Oh, cool. What's the range of the students inside your class?
Interesting question, Philip. So we have people who are young and old. Like, I literally have in a classroom of, including myself, 14 students, right? I have 2 who are retirees.
Okay.
Yeah, so they are
In
easily
their
in their 60s and 70s. And I also have people who are in their early 30s. But I think the biggest difference, not just in terms of age, is where they are. So it's not a myth that it's only people like me who are retrenched that goes into these adult education courses. Some of them are currently still with an organization, and they're there to acquire skills to benefit the organization.
So not necessarily for themselves, but for example, they're being sponsored by the company
That's
and they go through it lah.
Yep.
Okay.
What's your experience with your career counseling course?
Okay, so outside of a retiree and another classmate who has 5 masters and he started recently his doctorate. He's one of those persons who's addicted to learning lah. So outside of these 2 people, I'm about the oldest.
Okay.
All the other classmates, there are also 1 or 2 of them, actually 3 of them are in HR. So career counseling is, they do it on their own. They're not being sponsored by their company. Yeah. But I would like to point out 1, 2, 3 of our classmates, or my classmates who are, other than doctorate, these other 3, right, because we did a presentation about our own background.
Yeah.
So these 3 people, they are also serial learners, meaning that they have gone through multiple courses. Whether it's relevant or not to their work doesn't matter.
They just like going for courses.
The boom came during COVID when we are encouraged and given opportunities and a lot of time.
Yeah, whereas you can't work or right, yeah.
So they spend a lot of time to learn. But what myself and a friend of ours discussed is that you picked up so many certificates. Let's say knowledge. Certificates and knowledge.
Certified knowledge and skill sets.
Yes. What are you going to do with them?
Now, this is where we take a utilitarian approach to learning.
Yes.
Sometimes learning can be for its own sake.
Yes, I do agree.
Yes.
And I counter-propose.
Yes.
One of my classmates who's so like doing this and that, there are certain times when he cannot manage his time to come to class, and he has to skip class, either because of work commitment, that one we understand. But there was also one or two when he has to attend the other class. So to me, that's like, you are not focusing on to get something done.
So I guess if that person's intention is to be a polymath,
which is all the rage these days.
right? Because why be just an expert of one when you can be an expert of 5,000? So yeah, I would probably suggest that that person may have may need to take a more strategic approach to how you amass your knowledge and better time management.
That's correct. It's also the idea of how we want to be sure, we want to be knowledgeable, and yet we want to know that, look, we only have 24 hours in a day.
Exactly.
And back to your point about learning, are you learning things or just crossing?
Are you collecting certificates?
Yeah, it feels like it to me, some of them. So
I mean, I've got so much time on my hands. Let me make a new hobby out of it, which is honestly kind of weird, but sure.
Yeah. So education, it's something that we all go through.
Yes.
And maybe in closing, we can talk about what do we want to see in education. I mean, as outsiders looking in. Again, we don't have any kids. We don't intend to have any kids. So
we will not have kids.
So this topic to us is like, but look, we are also concerned individuals of the public.
Correct.
If overstressed kids in our education system are going to produce
psychopaths,
probably need to take a step back.
Not psychopaths then.
Yeah, so to me, I am optimistic. So I find that right now, whatever we have is good.
You think?
Not perfect. It is good.
Really?
It is a good step in the right direction.
Aren't you a glass half full person?
Yes, I am. We can definitely do with less academic emphasis, which again, I think we are doing that because we no longer have streaming, right? So yeah, I like to think that that could be it.
I'll be a bit more specific. The demise of the Yale NUS initiative.
Okay, go on.
Very sad, because that was meant to be our very first liberal arts college.
Okay.
And in this day and age of AI, I said it, AI, I think liberal arts education is even more important. Because to me, tertiary education has always and only been about critical thinking. And in the day and age where large language models and AI can easily predict the very next word that you're going to say, frames and ways of thinking about humanity, about morality, and just ability to flip between, let me take that back, not flip between, but actually incorporate both your left and right brain. It's very, very critical.
Okay.
So this missed opportunity with the liberal arts college in Singapore. We need more liberal arts.
So right now, what we have in are mostly very academic.
It's education, formalized education systems, unfortunately, have been industrialized to the point where it's meant to lead to an economic outcome.
Yes, correct.
Of course, the argument has always been that the workforce is always complaining about how graduates and people entering the workforce are ill prepared. But that's not the only point of education, is it?
Like I mentioned earlier, learning.
Correct.
Let's learn how to learn.
Let's learn how to learn. Let's learn how to be critical thinkers. And I think that's my only wish for the education evolution in Singapore. We need to start being more critical about what we do with this and how we can not be machines.
Yep, AI, right?
Yes.
The threat is very real.
Yes. Well, I mean, we'll go into more of that during the work episode. But yes, at least for me right now, that's my only complaint about education of course, disguised as a wish. Lah.
Okay. Right. So let's ring the bell. Class is over.
Yes.
It's been a very informative and
Educational.
discussion.
Yes.
I believe we have enough interesting people among us to maybe bring on the show again to discuss this topic.
Yes, I think we have
Yeah.
a lot of people that
Yeah.
straddle both sides of this argument.
Yeah, they are parents,
They
they
are
are
academics.
they are educators as well.
Yeah. So yes, it'll be interesting to see how they look at this topic called education.
Right. So until that happens, thank you for joining us.
As always, like, follow, share our content. We are on social media. We are on YouTube.
Yes, subscribe as well.
Yes.
No excuses over here already.
Like us.
All right, with that, thank you so much.
Yes.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.